Welcome to the Love Your Brand podcast. If you're looking for real conversations with real people, you're the right place. Let's go!
Yo, 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 guess who's back?
What up, dog?
Bizak in the house.
Looking at the camera. I thought we weren't supposed to look at the camera.
Oh, I couldn't help it.
Oh, we're looking at the camera.
Look at my drip.
Dude. Have you seen, man?
So my son said,
here we go.
What's the new word?
There's like this kid on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
He looks like the kid off Stranger Things.
I've never seen Stranger Things. But he's like out on the front porch and he's like, yo, check out my drip. What in the world? It's been a couple weeks and I understood what drip meant. Dude, the millennials, Gen Z, we laugh about it because we got like Zan and Megan that are working on our TikTok, and neither one of us have TikTok. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, you just talk that tick.
And then they produced that first thing that we did in the office that day. It was like, what? Man.
Crazy.
You and I are a little out of the league on that.
Yeah, Zan. Man, what a rock star, right?
She's awesome, man. She's awesome. We got good people. Dude, when I say the name Oliver Anthony, do you know who I'm talking about?
No, unless I see a
Bro,
face or you give me some more.
So here's some context. Because this is crazy. Oliver Anthony, he like this dude, red hair, big bushy red beard. He's a singer in the woods.
Oh, dude, yes, I know who you're talking
Bro,
about. Like,
you know, what was that song, Richmond, North of Richmond, or something like that? Dude, I just heard the other day, like, the context, all the backstory on him. It's unreal. Are you looking it up?
yeah.
Are we going to play it?
We're going to try it.
Oh, maybe our editor right now. Editor, pop a picture of Oliver Anthony or show this video. We'll see how sophisticated we are because this is only like one of our second or third episode. I'll put a pause on it while you look that up.
There's one simple hearing hack.
That's not it.
Hold on.
That's not him.
Hold on.
Almost overnight.
Yeah, that's not him.
Skip ads.
Yeah.
Working all day, overtime hours,
So good.
bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame.
Man,
what
it is.
the world's gotten to for people like me.
People like you.
Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is.
He's so good, dude.
Oh, it is.
Just filming out in the woods. How many views does that have right now?
40 million views.
40 million. All right. So check this out. Cut him off. Bye, Oliver. You do know it, man. You do know it, bro. That's incredible. I'm going to listen to that in the car in a second. But look,
Gives me chills.
I mean, it seems like Oliver Anthony just came out of nowhere, right? And I heard something the other day. It kind of gave all the context, all the backstory about him. And so here is this guy. You know, he's got an awesome voice. Like, the last year, I've, like, loved country music. It's been just something miraculous in my life. And he lives up in the woods, and he has, like, his little shack, little house he lives in. He's got 3 dogs, I think. He loves his land, works at a mill. You know, just a simple life, the epitome of a simple life. And he would set up, you know, his phone out in the woods and just do these little 1-minute videos of him singing songs that he's created. And, I mean, they're soul-filled songs. I mean, they're, you know, they kind of hit you deep. Deep.
Hard.
And
yeah.
I'm digging it. But he had a friend locally. Why are you laughing? Are we going to start laughing again? But he had... Here we go.
No, not bad. Go ahead.
All right, we're going to pause for a second. See, this is what happens. If you're tuning in, you're new, go back to episode 1. And you'll see what happens. See what happens. It's called Two Grown Men Trying to Film a Podcast. But anyway, Oliver has a friend that works at a record, or not a record label, a radio station locally.
Okay.
I can't imagine up where he is. It's not the biggest radio station. And his friend says, hey, man, can we come over and shoot, you know, a video of you, put it on the radio? So he's like, all right. And I'm acting like I'm speaking in his voice, you know, this radio guy. But so they come in, they bring up a mic, they bring in a video, and they film this song, put it on the radio. And after that, I mean, that's when Game On happened, to where he got picked up. This thing started going viral. And before you know it, on Billboard, guess where he went on Billboard?
Number one.
Number one.
Number one.
And from his payouts with that, he was making $40,000 a day. $40,000 a day from that song, because he's on the Billboard chart number one. And I don't know where he is today. If we look, that's going to drop. You know, he's not going to stay there. But if you think daily, he's making that amount of money from it. And even furthermore with that, think about Nashville. Like, how did they miss this guy, you know, out in the woods? And he got approached and offered a contract with a record label for $8 million to get started. You want to know what he said? He said, no, I don't want it. He turned down the offer because he's like, I don't want that life. I don't want that life of being on the road and traveling and this and that. He just wanted his simple life out in the woods with his land, with his dogs, doing his thing. And so, but the interesting point with that is, and how I think about it from like a marketing perspective, he did so much work producing content and showing up consistently. You know, you look back, he had, prior to like a number of weeks ago, he had like 32 subscribers on his YouTube channel. 32. And now you just pulled up that song a second ago and like 40 million views of this song. His channel, I looked yesterday, it was like at 500,000 or 1 million. But I mean, this looks like overnight success, but it wasn't. I think he put out like 3 years ago was his first video that he posted. To where, and his goals, you know, when we come in business, if we create a business, our goal is profit, right? I mean, for the most part, we don't start a business unless we're going to make money.
The ROI.
ROI, the RZA. Whatever that means.
ROAS.
But ROAS. Oh, I like ROAS. Return on ad spend. ROAS. But his goal was never to make money. That's his passion. That's what he loves doing. And it's cool with business and brands. You know, you say love your brand. You're on the Love Your Brand podcast right now listening. He just was doing what he was loving. Authenticity. That's an anchor of a brand. And just with that, I keep going back to it. Consistency. So for the people that are listening, keep doing what you're doing, right? Keep putting it out there. Keep showing up. And the time will come. It will pay off, because a lot of times the audience, you know, we do like a targeted marketing campaign. Let's say we want to get clients or launch a course or sell a product, and people don't buy. It's their decision of when to buy. It doesn't mean that you did it wrong or incorrectly, but they're just not ready at this time. And so you have to be consistent and keep posting stuff, keep showing up daily, weekly, whatever it is. Then when it comes time for that person, they're ready to buy, they're ready to move forward, then they remember you. Because if you're not showing up daily and weekly, they're not going to remember you. You're not going to be front of mind or front of sight. What's that saying?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. There you go. And so, I wanted to bring him up today because his story is just absolutely incredible.
And that's encouraging because, 2 decades now, I've been in this. 2 decades, jeez.
You're old, dude.
Old man.
But you don't have the color and the gray like I
not
do.
yet. I had like 4 and I cut them out.
Don't pluck them, man.
Just only had 4 though. It looked weird.
You sure you don't use just for men? Because that's
pretty solid.
That's rich, bro.
I know. Thank you. What was I talking about?
You've been in it for 20 years, 2 decades.
20 years, 2 decades. What were we talking about before that?
Consistency, showing up.
Consistency, showing up. Like,
y'all, we don't have cue cards.
Oh man, it's it's the magic pill. It's like success doesn't happen overnight.
Ooh.
Right? And you got to show up constantly. It's the same thing with your marketing and branding. Like Jay Hill was saying, you've got to post on social media. Don't don't anticipate every ad and every post that you're going to convert and just go crazy, right? It takes time. Like,
And every post is not about making a sale.
exactly, you've got to build
your
that
brand.
brand trust.
Bingo.
You've got to build that brand equity, establish that relationship. Remember, we said it was all about relationship. So when we meet with partners and go over, they're like, "Hey, well, we wanna be on social media." Great, it's our job to set up realistic expectations. Um, there's good practices to put in place. We try to stay on par with all the latest trends. That's why I keep hiring
Yeah.
a lot of young people, right?
To
to
keep
help
us
us
young.
keep us young. But there's good practices, protocols. The same thing with SEO. There's a 65-point checklist. Same thing that's constantly evolving and changing with the algorithms. Same thing with CRMs, with drip campaigns. So we do our best, but the last thing I ever want to do is say, hey, after 6 months, you're going to just be blowing up. You're going to quadruple your customer base. And it's just not a realistic
It's true.
goal. So, it seems the last 2 or 3 years, every potential partner, it's almost there's like a caveat. It's not black and white. If it was black and white, we probably wouldn't be talking right now. I'd be on a beach somewhere
Right.
up in the mountains, you know, hanging out with Oliver,
There you go.
Anthony.
It's a dang shame.
It's not black and white. So just be careful. I'm not saying, it's not about working with us or anybody that we would refer you to, but just be careful on what people are offering nowadays. It's saturated. You get emails, hey, $99, first page of Google,
Right.
this and that. It's honestly, it's tough. It's tough. It is crazy tough, and even for business owners, I feel for you because it's hard to measure apples to apples.
It's true.
It's you look at company A, you look at company B, company C, company D. You think you're looking at the same thing. They all say the same thing. They might sound the same way. But in actuality, they're not. We did it before. We've been in a relationship, and they're like, well, hey, this other company can do it for half the price.
Mm.
I don't believe it, but good luck,
Right.
right? It's like,
I mean, we've
'cause
lost a lot of people.
I know the effort.
Yeah.
I know the grind that it takes to implement real strategies and effort into gaining market share, and especially if you're in a saturated market. I mean, come on.
Right.
So, and that's crazy to me. This is a whole nother subject. Businesses, when they get a little tight, they always want to cut their marketing.
Yeah. It's the first thing.
First thing that goes, ooh, let's cut marketing. Get creative, right? I think.
For the ones that are even doing some kind of marketing,
Yeah.
so many of them, they don't even have a single dollar going to it.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, look at this other company. They didn't do nothing, and they're blowing up, and I'm just like, man, there's scenarios that I could tell you over the last 20 years that I've heard and seen, and the grass isn't always greener, right? So just be careful, whoever you are and how you represent yourself. That's one thing that I try to be cognizant of whenever we're working on campaigns is having realistic expectations.
That's good. That principle applies to everything in life. I mean, think about our wives, think about our families, you know, and all these things. We want to set realistic expectations with every single person that we have. And, you know, like, let's say the work-life balance, you know, with our family. I mean, if I'm not communicating and setting realistic expectations, they're going to get frustrated if I'm working late or I'm not showing up or I'm not doing what I said if it wasn't defined. And I think we get a lot of clients that come our way, or partners. I know we said last episode, you know, that they're partners, not clients, and so forgive my verbiage. But we have a lot of partners that come our way, and they have in their mind a specific thing that they need. Hey, Jason, I need a website, or I need this, or I need a brochure, kind of a thing. And these things can cost a lot of money based on what is needed and the complexities and, you know, the functionality of all these things. And I like how you always take it to realistic expectations, and we kind of back up like, all right, what's your goal with building this website? What are you going to do with this brochure once it's created, kind of a thing. And a lot of times they just think they need something when in actuality they don't need it, or it's the wrong asset that they need. And so, you know, because when you're talking about them cutting their marketing budget, you know, when sales drop or things like that, and we have to get with them and really communicate and chat with them and understand where they want to go so that we can put a plan in place to get there. And I think, you know, as we started off, we're talking about consistency and how Oliver Anthony showed up consistently, and that's where he is today because of that, just over and over and over. Like, if I can encourage anybody that's listening from that, you know, focus right now on your brand. And as you're showing up, like, we have a client that, you know, she came to us and we're launching her from the very beginning. She had an idea, she had a dream, and she needs the whole thing. She needs phase one is like we're creating the brand. Then phase two, we'll get into like the online development with website and things. Phase three, we're going to do like lead generation tactics. And phase four is going to launch this thing. And I love clients that come to us from the very beginning that don't have a brand established, because we get to do things right from the beginning. You know, we get to really understand what they want to communicate and develop that and the brand identity around it, so that then as they start showing up consistently, they're going to attract those right people that are aligned with what they're doing. Then when we start spending the money on, you're going to put paid ads, or we're going to work on SEO so you rank at the top of these search engines and Google, all the other activities there, you're going to have a higher opportunity for engagement and sales because that brand was established from the beginning and you consistently show up and you're attracting those right people. When we get people, I don't know if I'm going down a rabbit hole or all over the place, but when you get people that come in bringing it back to that say, I just want a website or I just want a brochure, it's wasting money because their brand was never established. People don't know what they stand for, and they're just spending a lot of money to get some piece of collateral or an asset produced that's really not going to generate any kind of income. Did any of that make sense?
Yeah, and I guess it's different scenarios, right? Depending on the organization, where they're at in their journey. Yeah.
If we tell people, you know, one takeaway from this episode, I mean, we want, as you've shared, you know, we want people that there's valuable nuggets that they can implement today into their business, into their brand. You know, I mean, I know we talk a lot about the consistency and just showing up and doing the work, you know, because sometimes you don't have to hire an outside agency per se. You know, what you said, we have team members that are young that understand how social media works. They can produce content so fast, you know, with video and all these things, and just be putting stuff out there, posting things daily or every few days or weekly, to where when somebody stumbles upon your brand, they can quickly see, hey, these people are relevant because they're always posting, and they see what matters to them.
I think what's most important is actually taking the time and putting a roadmap or a growth plan in place, strategizing a little bit, right?
Spot on.
If you're not willing to go and do that work, then you just want someone to do a lot of stuff for you without any kind of vision or goals. Yes, you've got to be nimble, you've got to be agile, but just take that initial step. Even if you're pre-existing, you need to take a step back sometimes and reevaluate. It goes along with the whole brand story I told you about.
Yeah.
Brand longevity. It's a forever thing. So as you go back and do your growth plan, that's a constant. You need to reevaluate, do a growth strategy of where you want to go next after you've gotten to where your initial strategy got you. And that brings in the brand aspect of it. So invest in that. Find creative ways to cut costs. I've seen companies, they cut their marketing budget, but they spend a gajillion dollars on useless stuff, on useless materials.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Like, are you going out of business? Are you just going to hide in a hole? Or I mean, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, Oliver Anthony is our man. You heard
I
him.
can't wait to play that song
And
again.
Oliver, if you ever hear this, hit us up. We will come to you.
I was gonna say we can drive to him, man.
Oh yeah, we'll come hang out, man.
West Virginia.
Yeah, hang out. Bring the RV. Have a podcast. Tell your story. Real people talking to real people.
People helping people. It's a
Love your
beautiful
brand,
thing.
baby.
Love your brand. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening and joining us on the Love Your Brand podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode, and remember, share the love.